guys, I'm Kelly Burncrotcher Keene.
I'm Jazzy, 5 Datelines worth of problems, shamanic.
And we're here for another season of Yellowjackets. Yay! Season 3. You're with the Antler Queens, the most inclusive Yellowjackets podcast, where we shove peace, love, and Yellowjackets down your beautiful goddamn throats. We also talk openly about real life issues as they relate to the show, such as mental health, bigotry, and abuse, because these conversations are important. If you're unaware of our new format, we start the show with a little bit of news or web commentary, followed by a detailed recap, followed by an in-depth analysis. And these sections will be marked in our episode descriptions to make it easier to skip to the parts that suit you. With that, to introduce my new co-host to those who haven't seen her yet, this is Jazzy, and she has the distinction of being my first co-host that has been with me live during a season. And not just the off season. Even the person I started the show with, we started after the season ended. So
I didn't even realize that.
Yeah.
What an honor.
But if you haven't checked it out, we have an episode available both on the audio podcast and on our YouTube channel, where Jazzy interviews the cast of Yellowjackets, and it's fantastic. I'm telling you, these are some of the greatest questions, if not the greatest questions, that you will have ever heard asked of the Yellowjackets.
Goodness gracious. It's pretty good, I
guess. So please go check it out. It's phenomenal. I knew she would do a great job, and she exceeded my expectations. But so before we get into it, what are your overall thoughts of the start of the season? Are you optimistic? Are you hesitant? Are you a little wary?
I'm stressed about the potential body count of this season. I feel like they're really gonna take that note and run with it. I really like that we started off this season in a happy place, because I feel like we're not gonna get much of that. And it's nice after all the literal crap that the girls have been put through in season 2, that we get to start off in a kind of a lighter, brighter place.
Yeah.
Before we go, nosedive into some real dark shit. So I really like where we started off. I felt like it was a good warm up for the rest of the season.
Yeah, I'm hoping that the teen timeline last season, I don't know how they could have improved it. I thought it was phenomenal.
Yeah, I loved it.
The adult timeline, on the other hand, I have some not so positive feelings about that. So I'm hoping that they kind of don't repeat some of the same mistakes and focus on stuff we don't care about. I think they overestimated how much people would actually care about seeing an investigation.
Yeah. We've got 15 different versions of Law and Order for that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know. There's a lot about the adult timeline that I liked last season, but it wasn't it definitely wasn't as strong as season 1.
Yeah. It wasn't messy enough for me. It wrapped up a little too cleanly.
Yeah. I'm hoping that's just for now.
Yeah.
It was kind of like a Deus Ex Walter. Boom! All your problems are fixed in one easy move, and it was a little convenient. But I'm hoping that's not the end of that story.
Yeah, I hope so too. So one thing that I like to do before we get started is read a little bit of news or web commentary. And this comes to you from Collider. A lot of the fan theories will finally be answered. Yellowjackets Season 3, Sophie and Elise, Jasmine Savoy Brown, and Courtney Eaton promise. Luckily for us, Collider's Eric Masoto got the scoop from Shauna, Thaisa, and Lottie themselves. During their conversation, they discussed the unhinged and animalistic nature of the latest of the season, finally answering some long lingering fan theories, and the shocking finale they expect will turn audiences catatonic. Oh, God. That kind of scares me. It will be unhinged and animalistic, and we finally get a lot of answers. And Courtney Eden says, I think there's a rawness that people aren't going to expect. Season 2 had that, but in a very different way. I think season 3 is unhinged and animalistic. Sophie Lee says, I think a lot of the fan theories will finally be answered. A lot of the questions that have been pending. Jasmine Spoy Brown says, I think that we're going to see the girls become even more themselves. Sophie Lee says, we find Shauna in the beginning of season 3 where she has nothing to lose anymore. So there's this sense of unhinged madness. She wants revenge, but I think it's not personal to anyone. She's just so angry at the world for having taken so much from her. And I think she just needs to let that out on someone. She's going to be very scary and unpredictable this season. What can audiences expect from Lottie and Ty Van? Courtney Eaton says, Lottie goes on a big journey this season in trying to find where she really stands and who she truly is, and if she should lean into certain sides of herself. With Lottie, there's always different sides of the magic of Lottie, always in for a ride. And Jasmine Savoy Brown says about Ty and Van, I think that their relationship is under more pressure than ever before, if possible, but it is. So we're going to see how that affects them and what they'll do with that pressure. They said that season 3 will have us screaming at our TV. Jasmine emphasized that. She said, oh, I think people will be screaming at their TVs. Screaming. That's a lot to live up to, man.
I know. I'm already so stressed out.
But yeah, why don't we just jump right into it?
Yeah, let's do it.
I've got my screenshots handy. And remember, if you're not a recap person, you can just skip right ahead to where we start the discussion. Take it away, Jazz.
Thank you. We are thrown into the action with Mari running for her life, not from a bear, but from her peers, Jen and Akila. It's a scene that harkens back to the infamous Pit Girl moment, but this time it's all part of a game called Capture the Bone. We agree with Van the name could use a little workshopping. Shauna heroically, or perhaps barbarically, tackles Mari, attempting to wrestle something from her grasp. But Mari's empty-handed reveals leads to chaos, as we see Misty in the background, indicating that Mari was merely a decoy. Maxwell Murder by Rancid scores the scene, adding to the anarchy vibe. Shauna tackles Misty, but not before Misty can pass the bone to Jen, securing their team's win. Mari in victory sports a backwards L on her forehead, a move Shauna ridicules with the finesse of a 90s queen bee. Cat Stevens' Morning Has Broken introduces a moment of peace. The girls have turned survival into an art form, constructing huts from architecture books. Akila tends to a small menagerie of bunny rabbits, a stark contrast to the usual survival fare. Jen returns from a hunt, rifle in hand, with a duck, a sign that they've been stepping up their game in the wilderness. We see Ty sweetly braiding Van's hair, a slice of normalcy amidst the madness. They play Chinese telephone, a game that almost in a way mirrors their situation, with the messages getting twisted in the wild. Misty signals gathering time with a makeshift horn, and Natalie tries to assert some leadership, which Shauna dismisses with a roll of her eyes. They are celebrating the summer solstice, with the losers of the bone game becoming the servants to the winners for the day. Van takes to the stage to narrate their tale previously on the Yellowjackets, while Shauna isolates herself, scribbling away her own angsty narrative in her journal. Van's story revisits their high school triumphs, the cabin fire, and their descent into survival mode, while Shauna pens a darker recount of events, mourning her friend and unborn child, not so smartly recording their cannibalistic activities. Dinner prep brings out the snark in Melissa, who mocks Mari's intelligence with a crude remark about her chipping her tooth on a vibrator. Shauna, momentarily stunned by the realization that Melissa might actually have a personality, gets a crown from Aquila, which she promptly discards, showing disinterest in the communal celebration. Melissa quickly steps on it, potentially endearing herself as Shauna's new team sidekick. A few of the girls meet in the, sorry. A few of the girls meet in one of the huts to discuss Coach Ben's fate. Natalie believes he's long gone, but then we see a flash to Ben. He is very much alive. He finds a survivalist treasure under the forest floor, a giant trap with a ladder and a huge case of survival supplies. He makes sweet, sweet love to a peanut butter bar before we cut to Travis, who is under the influence of some unidentified wilderness tea, tripping balls, and experiences profound existential thoughts, sharing with Lottie his feelings about everything and nothing, and how they're both full of things. Their conversation delves into grief and mental health, but is interrupted when Travis hears the forest scream, a sign of either his altered state or something more supernatural. We get a lovely dinner scene with the losers serving the winners. Jen and Mari are enjoying being waited on a bit too much, leading Shauna to spitting in Mari's food. Mari smugly dumps the soup on the ground, which results in Shauna serving her a much more rustic, dirt-filled ground deer soup. Natalie, fed up with the feud, puts both Mari and Shauna on house arrest for a week, reflecting the group's struggle to maintain order. Mari isn't too pleased with this, so she runs off. At night, by herself, yeah, maybe Melissa was right about the vibrator comment. After dinner, dressed in makeshift pagan attire, the girls hold a somber memorial for Javi, Jackie, and Shauna's baby, releasing paper lanterns into the night sky. The moment's peace is shattered by the sound of the trees screaming and a baby crying, which everyone now hears. The episode closes with Ben hearing whimpering coming from a trap, expecting to find an animal, but finds Mari instead, injured and in pain. I Will Survive by Cake plays over this scene, a darkly humorous counterpoint to the grim reality of their situation.
Okay, so now we go to the adult timeline. We kick things off with Callie doing her usual morning routine, or lack thereof. She's running late for school, and Shauna swoops in to give her a very mom-like reminder. You're late, followed by a gripe about dirty dishes left in the sink. Oh, and by the way, today's Nat's funeral. Things get even better when Shauna accuses Callie of smoking weed, or as she awkwardly calls it, chronic, an outdated term that she immediately regrets using. Cut to Misty in full Zen mode, meditating in her bed, only to be interrupted by Walter. Wait, are they living together now? He bursts in to talk about a case he found on the hilariously titled Meetings Are Murder Unless They're About Murder board. But Misty isn't biting. She's not in detective mode. Instead, she's laser focused on Natalie's memorial, or rather not focused because Ty didn't even tell her about it. Walter, ever the supportive stalker boyfriend, leaves her key to Nat's storage locker, planting the seed for later Misty channeling Natalie chaos. Natalie's future. Natalie has no future. Natalie's funeral is about as bleak as you'd expect. It's sparsely attended, with Ty, Van, Shauna, and Jeff showing up alongside Nat's mom, who delivers the absolutely worst eulogy of all time. Seriously, it's so bad that Shauna whispers, "Holy fucking Christ," under her breath. And honestly, same, Shauna, same. After the funeral, the gang gathers for shots and reflects on Nat's life. They give themselves hilariously dark epitaphs, and Van even waves her proverbial cannibal pride flag. But wait, where's Misty? Oh, yeah, that's right. Ty didn't invite her. Rude. But I mean, she did kill her after all. Meanwhile, third person camera angles hint that someone is lurking and watching them, possibly. Oh, and Shauna jokingly uses a salt shaker to pretend to summon Misty because when isn't our dear beloved MFQ spying on them? Misty, meanwhile, is busy going through Nat's storage locker where she discovers Nat's iconic leather jacket, and you just know that this is going to become significant. Back at the high school, students are gossiping about Nat's death. One girl claims Nat overdosed on fentanyl, while another starts speculating about the freaky sex stuff that the Yellowjackets allegedly did, Shauna included. Naturally, they throw Callie into the mix too, saying she's probably into freaky shit just like her mom. High school remains undefeated as the worst place on earth. At Ty's house, Van's in bed in Sammy's room, and Ty's on the phone arguing with Simone about Sammy. Tensions are high. Van's cancer diagnosis looms large, especially when Ty brings up the papers Van hasn't signed yet, except for her DNR. Ty's desperate to rekindle things, even asking why they aren't together anymore. But Van's not letting her off the hook for how badly she ended things years ago. Still, Ty manages to convince her to go out for a ridiculously expensive dinner. Cue to said fancy dinner, where Ty and Van are eating the most pretentious food imaginable: cotton candy covered foie gras. Van hates it and fantasizes about taking a flamethrower to the place. Ty, ever the romantic, suggests they ditch it for pizza and fudge ripple ice cream after they dine and dash. Because why not? She's a disgraced New Jersey state senator. Rules don't apply. Cue an epic escape scene. They bolt out the back, hand in hand, as Tiffany's I Think We're Alone Now plays. A waiter chases after them, only to nearly get hit by a bus and then suffer a heart attack. Ty and Van run off laughing until creepy Michael Jackson No-Eyed Man makes an appearance. Ty tries to shake it off, though, and dives right back into a steamy Bush's glycerin-backed makeout session with Van. The episode balances Ty and Van's humor, heartbreak, longing, and insane chemistry perfectly, showing us why these two have always been such a fan favorite couple. Next, we cut to Callie standing outside of school as Randy rolls up on a scooter. Randy is now a delivery driver for Swift Eats while apparently waiting for his NASA application to be reviewed. It's a hilariously awkward interaction, and we're always happy to get a little Randy. Back at the homestead, Shauna rummages through Callie's room and finds a joint, which she steals for herself because that's the kind of mom Shauna is. Her 420 session is interrupted by a call from the school principal. Turns out Callie got suspended for assaulting the girls with guts. Yes, guts. Jeff's reaction? Priceless. Are you sure they weren't human? He asks. Ever the realist. Shauna reminds him, you can't just DoorDash human entrails, Jeff. Jeff, meanwhile, is struggling to process the fact that their daughter witnessed a shit ton of chaos in the past 6 weeks, including Shauna almost being murdered, Natalie dying, and some light blackmail on the part of her dad. Shauna, remarkably calm, brushes it off like it's no big deal. Misty, now rocking Nat's leather jacket, strolls into Nat's favorite bar. Cherry Bomb by the Runaways plays as she orders a total of 7 whiskey shots, channeling Natalie's rebellious energy. She even adopts a deeper, raspier voice to mimic Nat. After getting cut off by the bartender, she starts harassing some bros playing pool, ruining their game and spraying beer all over one of the dudes after telling him she's lit dicks on fire. Naturally, she gets kicked out. But don't worry, Walter shows up to save the day. At first, Misty doesn't realize it's him, so she threatens him in true Misty fashion, saying, I'll crotch your burn. Walter brushes it off and tries to convince her to talk, but she's still not having it. Things get even more awkward when he reveals that she left her phone at the bar, and the bartender had to call every contact until he reached Walter. He gets out of the car and hugs her as she sobs over Natalie. With Callie suspended, Shauna steps into the role of an impromptu homeschool teacher. Naturally, it's as weird as you'd expect, with Shauna sipping wine and asking Callie if she's okay or having dark thoughts. Callie, however, insists she didn't pull the guts prank because she's damaged or anything. It's because the mean girls at school were spreading rumors that Shauna and her friends were involved in weird sex stuff. Yikes. And Callie wanted to teach them a lesson. In true Shauna fashion, instead of being mad, she actually asks to see the video. And when she does, she laughs hard. It's fucking hilarious, Shauna says, even asking Callie to play it again. This mother-daughter duo is so chaotically weird, and we can't get enough of it. In a creepy twist, Callie is making a sundae when she hears a noise outside. She finds a mysterious envelope with the Yellowjackets symbol on it, addressed to Shauna. Inside, a mini tape. Jeff sneaks up behind her in a classic jump scare and casually reminds her it's a suspension, not a vacation. Go to bed. And there you have it. Yellowjacket season 3 is already delivering the chaos, mystery, and jaw-dropping moments we've been waiting for. Should we get on to the discussion?
Yeah.
All right. Or should we save the discussion for after episode 2? Should we discuss the episodes together?
Let's space them out. Let's discuss.
Okay, gotcha.
I want to, yeah.
Okay.
I want to be able to keep this episode fresh in my head and discuss it instead of mashing them together.
Gotcha. That works. So I was kind of it was kind of nice to see some recurring characters who aren't main characters get some screen time right away.
Yeah,
It's kind of
absolutely.
Nice.
I love that they keep finding ways to like throw Randy in the mix.
I know.
Like it always shows up at like complete random moments.
I know. I love it.
He's a great little dude.
But hey, Tammy took him back, so
Yeah.
he doesn't have to live at the no-tell motel anymore.
He's on the upswing.
Okay, let me ask you, what do you think about Walter?
So many things. I'll have more to say about Walter when we discuss the next episode, but
I think he's shady.
I think he has something that, like, a major secret that he is hiding from Misty. I don't know, because he seems to sincerely care about her. He really he really does seem to like think that he's found his match, like I don't think he has ill intentions for Misty.
Yeah.
I hope not. I sincerely feel like he cares about Misty. But I don't know like what lengths he'll go to maybe get her to reciprocate those feelings.
Yeah. See,
Yeah.
I basically see him as kind of a copy of Misty, as a reflection of Misty.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking about how she was with Ben, and I kind of am getting those vibes with Walter.
He's definitely Mistying her, like hardcore.
Yeah. I don't want to say too much until we're done with the second episode, until we get to the second episode discussion, because I have some thoughts on that. But yeah, I
have some thoughts on that too.
Yeah, I think like Misty, he's probably a little obsessive.
I think he also has some kind of like major trauma.
Yeah.
Or like crazy, maybe not cannibals, but maybe he like got stuck in a mine shaft and killed a bunch of people. I don't know. Like he has some kind of like, I feel like he also has some kind of like similar major trauma in his life that he hasn't shared with her yet.
Yeah,
but I'll get into that in the next one. But yeah, I loved this episode. For like watching Misty this season was one of the things I was most stressed out about, because like of course she's gonna take everything that happened so bad, and I was surprised by how much fun this was, even though she's like very realistically portraying grief. Like it was still like there's still so much comedy in her performance. I really love the way they watched that line in this episode. She was so funny.
I loved the way she was like, I loved her silent interaction with the guy next to her at the bar.
Doing the joke about the taxes.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
You can file your taxes early.
It wasn't totally silent. Yeah. That's right.
I'm dying. I loved when he asked her what she was drinking, and she's like, espresso martini. No, whiskey. Like going out to do Natalie cosplay is exactly how Misty would grieve. And I just loved it.
I love how she just looks at the guy next to her and she's like, yeah, I'm drinking whiskey. I'm cool.
I don't know how someone who doesn't ever, they happen to have Misty. This has happened twice now. As someone who doesn't appear to use much drugs and alcohol, use a whole lot of drugs or alcohol in one go. Like that gigantic line of coke she did, and then like be fine. Drunk, be like intoxicated, but like not, you know.
Yeah,
like,
what the
someone
fuck?
who doesn't drink regularly, drinking 7 shots of whiskey in a row, like that's gonna be even someone who does drink, that's gonna be a lot to take, you know?
Yeah, for sure. Okay, Jazzy, I'm going to pretend you died.
Oh no.
And I'm giving the eulogy at your funeral. Jazzy and I were about to record an episode of Antler Queens once, and a can of soda exploded all over her keyboard. And it was cool. We still recorded because we're cool like that. Oh my God.
Put that in there.
That was the worst eulogy I've ever heard.
I mean, seriously. I was curious about that because it didn't seem like Misty and her mom had a bad relationship. Like we only got the one episode with her dad, like her trying to save her mom from her dad.
Well, she did come home as an adult that one time, but her mom like didn't really move from the couch. She was just like, take your shit. I'm not your storage unit.
Yeah. I wonder. Yeah, that's sad.
Yeah, she didn't really talk to her much, but yeah, Van's face says everything.
Why didn't she ask someone else to give the eulogy? Like, it's not like Misty didn't have friends.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't know if maybe her mom was afraid of the other girls because
that makes sense.
Of like the rumors of what happened out there, but Thaisa probably would have given a great eulogy.
Dad's mom's like, oh, my daughter definitely ate people. I'm not hanging out with those bitches.
Oh my God. But yeah, I mean, Thaisa's probably the only one I would have trusted to give a eulogy. Maybe Van, definitely not Shauna.
No.
Although I would like to hear that. I would like to hear Shauna's eulogy.
Adult Shauna and Nat didn't seem to have too bad of a relationship.
Yeah.
But they had quite the contentious past.
Yeah. You know, like they were a little icy to each other when they first saw each other, but that was about it. But you know, Nat was the only one who didn't want to participate in the hunt, and she was the only one who didn't want to try to hunt down Shauna.
Yeah.
So there is that,
which is surprising. You kind of think, especially like seeing what an angsty mean bitch like Teen Shauna's being doing. I'm loving Teen Shauna's villain era. Loving it, enjoying it. She's so awful. I get it. Like, I love the way that Sophie put it with her being like so upset about what the world has taken from her, and like on top of that, like postpartum, on top of that starvation, on top of that like teen hormones, like Sophie Nélisse just knocking it out of the park. Like she's so freaking great.
Yeah, she really is. She scares me.
Yeah.
When I'm watching the show, like I would not want to be. She basically brings back the memories of every one of the mean girls that I was never a mean girl, okay, ever, but I hung out with a lot of mean girls. And so I got picked on a lot because of that, because I wasn't a mean girl. I got picked on by the people I was actually hanging out with. And Shauna just reminded me, like, she just made me flash back to high school so quickly in this first episode. I'm like, oh my God. I
didn't
feel,
like they bullied Aquila. That
yeah.
hurt my emotions.
Yeah.
But other than that, I was really enjoying it.
She, like, I don't want to jump ahead to episode 2, but she makes this face in episode 2 that's just like, she has the most brilliant exchange with Misty with, like, just this one facial expression that's just, like,
Yeah.
phenomenal. I absolutely love Sophie Nalise. She's so great.
She, like, needs to be nominated for an Emmy for this role. Like, needs to. Like, I wish they could nominate them both, like, in one. Like, they could nominate the character and give them both an award and then count, like, they don't have to compete against each other for the same. Because I guess they probably put Sophie for supporting.
Yeah.
But
so
just like look at both of them.
I want to call attention to, where is it? I have a photo here. Right here. This photo. You can clearly see somebody watching Callie. Like, you can see hair in the corner. Yeah. Does that look like Hilary Swank's hair, possibly? I think
that's my guess.
Yeah. Yeah, that's my guess too.
Might be Jill McHale in a wig.
That would be amazing. What I really wanted it to be was, I so wanted it to, if somebody was still stalking them, I so wanted it to be either Ben or Paul. Because I think that would be so interesting.
It would be really interesting if Paul turned up in the adult timeline.
Yeah.
I love that.
And if he, like, somehow found out from another survivor about what happened, like, I don't know, maybe Aquila's still alive and he found out from her because she's really sweet and she, like, felt bad about stuff and she kept in touch with Coach Ben, I don't know, but yeah, that would definitely be interesting. Okay, first of all, the episode title and the opening, brilliant nod to Pit Girl. Like, I mean, they recreated the Pit Girl scene perfectly, and titled, I mean, except for the Mari actually dying and falling into a pit, which she did at the end. She fell into a pit at the end,
right?
I mean, so brilliant, and calling the episode "It Girl." I mean, I love that. I just absolutely love. I love their nods to, like, it, to fan theories, and because Hit Girl is a fan term. But
I didn't even realize that. Of course it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, duh. Sorry. Of course it is.
Yeah. So I absolutely love that. I thought it was brilliant. They do such a great job with the episode titles and the descriptions. I mean, last season we had Friends, Romans, Countrymen as the title for the episode where Shauna eats Jackie's ear.
I know, that was my favorite.
Yeah.
I really liked that. I thought it was
brilliant.
so funny.
Yeah. I love the little bunny and duck palace. I absolutely love that. Couldn't get enough of it.
I love that they're doing animal husbandry.
I know.
It's just real. It's real. I like that they're, like, thriving for now.
Yeah.
It's just, that's why it's nice to see them in, like, a secure, lighter place where things aren't quite as dark and horrifying.
Yeah. So, I mean, I wonder if they just, like, if they give names to, if maybe they give like names to the bunnies that they're keeping around, and then just like designate, food, not food. You know what I mean?
Oh my God. Pet food. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
That,
Because obviously they have to
no, I
keep some of
know.
them around.
Skip ahead.
But yeah, I mean, rabbits are great because I mean, there's a reason that the phrase like breeding or fucking like bunny rabbits exists because
Yeah, I said, yeah, same thing. That's genius for them to hunt and breed rabbits. It's like a super, super easy and abundant source of meat.
yeah, they never stop. I mean, they're constantly going at it. Believe me, we have problems with that in our yard.
Mhm.
It's I mean, it's adorable because I get to, but rabbits are also PSA. If you have dogs that you like to let out in the yard, um, rabbits, I don't know if they're smart for this or if they're really stupid for this, but they really like yards. They really like to settle down in yards with dogs, where like
Oh,
in
really?
houses where dogs live, because they see a scary predator inside, and they think that that predator is gonna they don't think about that predator getting out and attacking them. They think about that predator
Just
scaring off
crap.
other predators.
Oh.
Yeah. So it's we've kind of like learned to live with them. Banana has only gotten a hold of one rabbit. Unfortunately, I know it's a sad day, but she's only gotten a hold of one. We've learned to work around them. But yeah, I mean, they just like our dogs will be barking, and we'll just have some dumbass rabbit just laying in the grass, sunning itself, just stretching out its legs, just hanging out, like doop doo 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 doo. I'm just enjoying a nice sunny day. um, but yeah, I mean, it's a great source of food. Um, but yeah, but the ducks, like, I mean, you would imagine that ducks are probably pretty abundant with the water
Yeah.
there.
I'm wondering, like, wasn't there like no game last season? Like,
Yeah,
where did it all come from? Is it
I don't
because
know.
of is it because they've been making sacrifices to the wilderness?
That's what I'm guessing. That's what it's got to be. Um, but like, how do they not fly off? You know,
I mean,
like,
they probably I don't know how if any of them would know how to do it, but you can tip a duck's wing so it can't fly.
yeah,
They
yeah, I
have
guess
like
so.
flight feathers, and you like trim them, and then they can't fly
Okay,
away.
gotcha. All right. Um,
Animal husbandry.
yes, that's another thing we get a lot of now in our yard because we have a pool in the summer, and so
Ducks.
yeah, we find a
That's
duck in our
cool.
pool every once in a while. Everyone's like, we cover it up at night, but like
Mhm.
if we just go inside for a little bit, um, all it takes is us being gone for 10 minutes before we see a duck in the pool.
That's awesome.
Just hanging out and bathing and drinking and yeah, doing all kinds of ducky stuff.
They're real cute little guys.
Yeah, yeah, they are.
Also
Um
delicious. I was like, duck, that's lucky. Way
yeah,
to go.
yeah, they get duck and rabbit. I've actually I haven't had duck, but I have had rabbit before. Um, it's pretty popular in French cuisine,
Yeah.
and I've
I'm the exact opposite. I don't think I've ever had rabbit, but my husband and I used to throw these elaborate uh feasts for like, the Game of Thrones season
oh,
premieres,
nice.
and we would cook a dish from each of the 7 kingdoms from the Game of Thrones cookbook, and I've
Oh,
made
wow.
many a duck.
Yeah,
It
never had
is
duck.
amazing. One of these
Um,
days, Kelly.
I do hate venison, though. I fucking hate venison. It grosses me out.
I only tried it like super. I wouldn't say recently; it's been a while. But my Steve's family, his uncle, I think, hunted it, and they gave it to us chipped, and I made cheesesteaks out of it, and it was amazing. But that was the
Really?
only time I've basically ever had it.
Huh. Yeah, I can't do venison. Ugh. I mean, I gave it a good shot. Like, I was
Mm.
open-minded. I'm like, "Okay, yeah, I'll try anything." Um, by the way, camel is really good. Just to show that I'm actually
Camel.
open-minded, camel is fucking delicious.
That's interesting.
Um, but camel and
Where did
ostrich.
you? I was like, listen to a podcast about where you had camel because
Yeah,
I'm
I know.
interested.
Now, like, I mean, just living in Chicago and having access to, an abundance of
Mhm.
different grocery stores. Yeah, camel and ostrich are two of my favorites, but ostrich stinks to high heaven when it's cooking.
Interesting.
It tastes delicious, but smells terrible.
Mm.
Um, but yeah, venison, ugh, God no. I hate it. I hate it. It just grosses me out. I can't eat it. I don't know. It's been so long that I might like it now if I tried it again.
Mhm.
So I'm
I've only had the one time and the one preparation, but I've always heard it's all in the preparation with venison.
yeah. See, guys, we're practicing for when all this food talk, we're practicing for when Jazzy replaces Sean Evans. Um on Hot Ones.
Manifesting.
Yes. um okay, the dinner scene with Ty and Van. Actually, let's rewind a minute because I want to back up to I loved that I got so much I know you didn't watch 6 Feet Under, but I felt like I got so much Claire Fisher energy from Van when she was like laying in bed and going off on Ty
Mhm.
about like why they can't be together. I got so much Claire Fisher energy from that. It was great. But I the the restaurant scene. Um
I found that scene very strange, and it made me mad.
I okay. I felt this way before I saw this.
Mhm.
So I wasn't influenced by this thing that I saw online or anything. But I guess
Mhm.
I think it was Tawny Cypress said that we're gonna find out that we've been seeing other Ty or Issa a lot more than we
You
realized.
realize?
Um and
Interesting.
I just she was she had major Issa energy
Yeah,
in the restaurant.
I agree. It
Um,
doesn't seem like something Ty would do.
yeah.
And also, don't do that.
Yeah. Yeah,
Don't
please don't do
don't
that.
fucking do that. It's not
Yeah.
like it made me really. That's I think the heart of why I didn't like that scene is because that's happened to me multiple times. It's illegal for a restaurant to make you pay it out of your pocket, but they will. They
Ugh.
I've paid for plenty of people's fucking Olive Garden.
Oh my god.
Ooh, it makes me so mad. And nothing makes. And I hate seeing it on in TV shows being like glorified. Like it's a fun time.
Ugh.
Like it makes it's like you're stealing from someone who works for tips.
Yeah, that sucks. That
Now
really
they get to
sucks.
use the tips that they begged for all night to pay for your dinner. Cool.
Oh god.
Sorry. Not
Ugh.
to be like, not to go. They're just. I hate that. I hate when people dine and dash. It's so rude.
Not cool.
Most
You know,
waiters in America make $2 an hour, guys.
yeah, and I mean, especially like that shit shouldn't be happening at Olive Garden because when you're at Olive Garden, you're family, you know?
It's not very hospitaliano of you.
No, not at
Dine and
all.
sorry.
And I
Oh
mean,
my
well,
god.
I mean, unless your family has a bunch of assholes in it, then like I guess it's
Yeah.
kind of appropriate.
I'm assuming at
Um,
like a high end, like glamorous, like a fancy restaurant like that, they probably wouldn't force a waiter to pay somebody's check, but like it's happened to me plenty of times, and it's just not. I don't know. Like especially in such a nice place, like Ty has money.
yeah.
Like, what are you doing? Pay the check. Like, why is that fun to you to like stiff a poor person? Like,
Yeah. I
I
actually
found it
know
weird.
somebody who died because they went out to chase somebody down for
Oh,
not paying.
seriously?
Mhm.
Oh my god.
Yeah, they got shot.
By the person who was running, or by somebody
Yeah.
that's terrifying. They tell you not to chase people.
Yeah, I know.
Like everywhere I've ever worked, they're like, if you get robbed, just let them, just let it go. But then they're like,
Yeah.
now you owe us that money.
Oh God,
Like,
that's awful.
yeah, that's so sad.
Yeah, yeah. But by the way, the name of the restaurant, translated from French to English, is Without a Soul or No Soul.
Ooh,
Yeah, so very interesting.
interesting.
But yeah, so there was a major shift, like when Van said, "Don't you just want to take a flamethrower to this place?" And Ty was
Hmm.
like, "Fuck it, why don't we just get a
A
sort
pizza,
of,
yeah.
yeah, a pizza and some fudge ripple and eat it on the roof." There was a shift in the atmosphere and in Ty when that happened. Something came, like, just that Issa look came over her.
Hmm.
And, and right after that, like, they skipped out on the bill, and then we saw the No-Eyed Man.
Hmm.
So, I think we're
And
gonna
like,
be seeing her a
Issa
lot.
is obsessed with Van. Like,
Yeah.
that's like seems to be one of her main drives, is trying to like make Ty be with Van.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not that Ty doesn't love Van on her own or anything. But I'm just saying, I just see like Issa is very attached to Van, and is like, there's something going on there.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
Issa was probably heavily influenced by The Wilderness, and,
Mhm.
that's when she and Van were together. Um, but, yeah, I'm sad. I'm glad that my wife Simone is alive and out of the hospital and
Yeah.
well, but I'm sad that,
I knew that's how they were gonna do Sammy. I
yeah.
knew that's how they were gonna do Sammy. It made me really sad, but I was like, there's no way that kid's not 6 feet tall now.
Yeah.
There's
Oh,
like,
yeah.
like I knew there was gonna be some kind of like off screen, like, well, Sammy's at summer camp and I'll see him in 3 years. Like,
Right?
I knew he was
Right?
not gonna be around. I hope they find a way to work him into the season and explain the time difference, but I don't know how they're going to, because it's been like, what, 6 months in the adult timeline?
6 weeks. I thought
6 weeks.
yeah, 6 weeks.
6 weeks.
Yeah.
So like 8 weeks total in the entire series.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Sammy's like 35 now. So there's half of the cast of,
He's got a mortgage and 2
right?
divorces under his belt already.
Smokes. Yeah.
He's already
I
been to
love that
rehab a
kid.
couple of times.
I think that kid is a fantastic actor. I wish I don't know his name, but
Aiden
the child
Scott?
actor who played, yes, thank you.
Yeah.
He is a wonderful actor. Has a wonderful career ahead of him. I hope they
Yeah.
find a way to get him working back into the series, because I
I
knew
think
I
they
knew we
probably
weren't going to
will.
see him. I
If
doubt
they,
we'll see him this season.
like, I don't think they're probably not afraid to replace him.
Hmm. I
Um,
mean, yeah, they don't seem afraid to replace people.
yeah. They probably aren't afraid to replace him, but they probably don't wanna do it right away because they don't wanna keep, like, circling. They don't wanna keep, like, a rotation. I mean, in The
Hmm.
Walking Dead, when it was Judith, it was different because she was so young.
Hmm.
So, like, they had a Judith at as a baby, and then they had a Judith at 2, and then, um, but, like, it's a little harder when the kid's 8 years old or whatever. You don't wanna, like, keep replacing them with a different actor every season. I mean,
On Home Economics, I think we had like 5 different sets of twins
oh,
come in and
wow.
play. They were like, these twins are too noisy. These twins aren't noisy enough. They just kept recasting.
Oh my
It was like,
gosh.
almost a different set of twins every episode.
Holy
It's pretty
crap.
funny.
Um, but yeah, I definitely think that, but what's interesting about, like, the Ty and Issa thing, um, And for those of you who aren't aware, that's what we're referring to the quote unquote other Thai as.
Yes. That's
Issa.
my favorite, and I'm sad it
Yes.
hasn't caught on.
I like that.
Mhm.
So with Issa, I find it really interesting that, we're both pretty sure that that was Issa that we saw the whole time, like with the restaurant and after.
Mhm.
Um, and Van kissed her.
That's
So
probably not the first time.
yeah, yeah,
I don't think that Ty would have. I don't. Yeah, the way that
like
Ty doesn't really even acknowledge Issa, like I don't think it'll be an issue.
oh no, I don't think it would be an issue for
Yeah,
Ty. But do you think that Van is perhaps like more
more into
attracted to
Issa
Issa?
than Ty. I've thought that before.
Yeah,
I don't know. Probably because Issa's like a more honest, like
yeah.
more real version of Ty, or like a less inhibited version of Ty.
She
I
didn't
could
get
see
dumped by
that.
Issa. She got dumped by
Yeah,
Ty.
that's a good point.
Yeah.
That's a darn good point.
Yeah. So she
Mm,
probably is more into Issa. Issa's probably a lot freakier too. I'm
for
sure she's
sure.
yeah.
Um,
Not that I don't think Ty gets a little freaky, but Issa's probably like all kinds of freak.
yeah, absolutely.
um, but
Yeah.
yeah, my God though, holy shit. They've had like I swear to God, they've had two of the best on-screen kisses I've ever
Oh my
seen
goodness.
in
Yeah.
TV history. Like they are
Oh,
so hot together. My
yeah.
God.
I wish they were. I wish. I mean, I know that. Yeah, I know they can't be together. I know that they have like happy families. So I wish they were together in real life. They're so beautiful together.
Oh, I know. I know. Yeah, like they have insane chemistry. Um,
Absolutely.
and yeah, let's just look at a picture of them kissing again because it's just fun to
They're
look at.
beautiful.
Yeah. Um, but
I should the just the her casting as adult Ty is so immaculate. She's so perfect. Like
yeah, yeah, she
adult,
really
sorry,
is.
adult Van. Um,
Yeah.
since I've never been on the Antler Queens, I can finally make this point that she's one of the only actresses. Her and Simone are like the only actresses that didn't get to create the character together
Yeah.
with her younger counterpart. And she just came in and based her performance off of Liv's performance, and she's so freaking good.
She
She's
really
so
is.
good. Like I'm occasionally able to like separate reality, that I forget that they are not she isn't the adult version of that character occasionally.
Yeah.
It's weird.
Yeah, for sure. Like there are a lot of really excellent actors who still like despite their excellent acting, they still kind of maintain a certain recognizability,
Hmm.
a certain familiarity throughout all of their roles. Like
Absolutely.
and Lauren Ambrose just completely transforms. I mean,
Hmm.
Claire Fisher and Dorothy on Servant. Did you watch Servant?
Mm-mm.
Okay. Her character Dorothy on Servant and Claire on 6 Feet Under and Van are all such incredibly different characters, and she delivers her performances so incredibly differently for each one. I mean, it's just unrecognizable. Um, obviously Claire was very like it's a lot of teen angst and
Hmm.
rebellion and Dorothy was just I don't even know how to how to describe Dorothy. Just a rich, unhinged woman. It's like the only way that I could describe her.
Hmm.
But unhinged in a very different way. And Van is her performance as Van is so completely different. I mean, she's just like she's just unrecognizable, and she's so excellent in everything she does. I love her. She's just one of my favorite actors. Um, did did you have anything else that you wanted to talk about before we move on to episode 2?
I don't think so. I feel like we
Okay.
covered it.
Okay. Let's jump
Yeah.
to episode 2, Dislocation.
Yeah, we start off with a shout as Mary as Mari screams for someone to let her out of Coach Ben's trap. Ben is annoyed, especially when Mari assumes he's going to kill her. He tells Mari to shut up, and he talks her through the very painful process of resetting her dislocated knee. Meanwhile, back at camp, Shauna exhumes the body of her baby boy from the makeshift graveyard and reburies him in a private area, leaving a new grave marker. Nearby, the other girls discuss the missing Mari, suggesting the strange noises they heard in the night may have been the animals eating her. The girls agree to split into groups and search for her. Travis wants to help search, but Lottie requests that he stay behind and do even more shrooms because everyone knows the best time to do mushrooms is when you're trapped in uncontrollable circumstances with a group of people you don't really necessarily feel safe with, following probably what's the most painful and scarring traumatic moments of your entire life, not to mention being haunted by a loud and terrifying animalistic noise that no one can identify. Absolutely a recipe for a fun and safe hallucinogenic trip. Out in the woods, not commentary from me. Just saying. Out in the woods, Natalie and Misty hunt for Mari. Misty tries to convince Nat to confide in her, while Nat tries to convince Misty to shut up. Mari is thrilled that her knee is back in the socket and she's able to stand. She begs for Coach to pull her up out of the hole, saying that she never believed he burned the cabin down. He feigns a lack of knowledge about the cabin burning, because I'm sure that a 2-story, 3-bedroom cabin that's on fire for 12 days is super easy to miss. But he tells Mary just to wait there. Natalie is half ignoring Misty taking credit for Natalie and Travis having a smooth breakup when she spots a snare, rabbit snare up ahead that doesn't belong to the tribe. Painfully observant as ever, Misty spots the trap over Nat's shoulder and races towards it, shouting that she's found a clue. She reads some disappointment in Natalie's face and is suspicious as Nat hurries her away from the area. Ty and Van hunt for Mari. She expresses frustration for Natalie's lack of desire to hunt down the coach for payback. And Van asks if Ty believes she'd be a better leader than Natalie. Ty wonders if Van lacks confidence in her as a leader, and Van says that she has every confidence in Thaisa. It's the wilderness that does things it doesn't wish to be governed. Ty presses her to continue, but they are cut off by the sound of Travis screaming in pain. Ty and Van rush back to the settlement to find Travis balls deep in what is obviously a very terrible trip. He is panicking and screaming, "They're coming!" And Lottie's crazy ass is right on top of him, egging him on. Travis tries to plug his ears to stop the auditory hallucinations he's suffering from, but Lottie begs him to listen and embrace whatever horrible things he's seeing in there. Overwhelmed with fear, Travis lunges at Lottie, throwing her to the ground, and he wraps his hands around her throat. Ty and Van wrestle him off, and he reacts in horror when he realizes what he's done. Coach comes back for Mari with a makeshift ladder and helps her out of the hole with some difficulty. As soon as she's free, he overpowers her and ties her up, telling her that now that she's seen him, he can't let her go back to the others. A clearly traumatized Travis sits alone trying to calm his mind. Akila brings Travis a duck to cuddle, and Travis holds it, rocking it like a baby for comfort. Travis says he already knows what the wilderness wants. He pushes Lottie after Akila, saying she's more connected than he is, hoping to buy him at least a temporary reprieve from Lottie's crazy bullshit. Natalie and Misty arrive back at the camp and part ways. Misty calls after Natalie to keep her chin up and that they're sure to find Mari tomorrow. As soon as Natalie is out of sight, Misty runs to tell Shauna that she believes Natalie knows where Coach Scott is. Shauna asks if Misty has told anyone else, and then asks her to keep it between the two of them, obviously pleased to have some negative information to use against Natalie. Coach Scott's case, Coach hands Mari a cup of hot chocolate from the MREs he found in the last episode, and she's thrilled to have such a treat after so long. Coach leaves her alone to enjoy her drink, but she can hear him arguing with someone further back in the cave. Sorry. Shauna walks alone back to her son's new gravesite when she realizes that she's being followed. Pulling her knife, she demands whoever it is show themselves. Melissa pops up from behind some bushes and approaches her. Melissa says everyone's afraid of Shauna except her. Shauna presses the knife to Melissa's throat and tells her that if she tells anyone she moved the baby, that she'll kill her. Melissa pants with fear as Shauna continues to threaten her, but then finally builds up her nerve and silences Shauna's threats by kissing her. Surprised at first, Shauna begins eagerly kissing Melissa back, still holding the knife to her throat.
Now, onto the adult timeline. Over at the Sadekis, Shauna makes the surprised Jeff a smoothie, letting him know she's excited to get back to normal and put the crazy events of the season finale behind them. This pleases Jeff, and he reminds Shauna that they have a big business dinner this evening, and he's disappointed that she's clearly forgotten. Caught off guard, Shauna hunts for an excuse, but is saved by a knock on the door. Unfortunately, the relief of the distraction is short-lived because Shauna answers the door to everyone's favorite It's Not a Cult leader, Lottie, fresh off her most recent stay in the mental ward and looking for a place to crash. Lottie tries to ingratiate herself to Shauna and Jeff, mentioning she regrets that Callie saw so much, but then shifts the blame to Jeff for bringing her in the first place. Their arguing is interrupted by Callie, who overhears Lottie begging for a place to stay, insisting the night that Natalie died has completely ruined her life. Callie pleads with her parents to help Lottie, saying they need some positive karma after showing up at Lottie's with 5 datelines worth of problems. Jeff and Shauna finally give in, but they're not willing to leave Callie and Lottie alone. At Ty's, Ty arrives home with coffees as Van sits on the couch alone singing karaoke in Ty's PJs. Van says she feels guilty about the majorly shitty thing they did, dine and dashing. She tells Ty she plans to go back and pay. They begin to playfully kiss when Van steps on a glass cup and it shatters, leaving a shard in her foot. Ty helps her remove it and tells her it needs stitches. Van refuses, but then agrees to go if Ty goes to the restaurant to make good on the bill. Over at Misty's, she's in bed with a major hangover. Walter brings her a very sweet hangover-curing breakfast, which she refuses. Walter tells Misty he's worried that last night was a cry for help. Misty ignores him and lays in bed dejectedly until her phone rings with Shauna on the other end. Misty arrives at Shauna's, expecting a girls' night, but upon seeing Lottie, worries that Walter has arranged an intervention about her drinking problem. She is disappointed to learn that Shauna has called her there to babysit Lottie and keep her and Callie apart so she and Jeff can go out for the evening. Shauna tells Misty that she owes her as the Sadekis rush out the door. Annoyed, Misty begins to acclimate herself with her surroundings. In her room, Callie studies the mysterious tape that was left on the porch in the previous episode. She quickly hides it as Lottie softly knocks on the door and lets herself in. Before they can interact, Misty springs in to run interference, telling Callie to do her homework and dragging Lottie off to alphabetize the Sadeki spice cabinet that has never once been alphabetized before. Ty returns to the restaurant to make up for the horrible misdeed they did by stealing that poor server's wages. The restaurant is empty of diners, and the staff stands huddled in small groups, talking softly and looking sad. Ty approaches the manager and explains that they forgot to pay the night before. The manager knows this is obviously bullshit and goes to grab her boss. Ty turns to one of the crying servers and asks what happened. The server fills her in on the fact that the man who waited on them the previous night dropped dead of a heart attack while chasing them out of the restaurant. Ty, shocked to be involved in the man's death, snatches back her credit card and flees the scene just as the restaurant higher ups arrive to question her. Back at the Sadekis, Misty tries to make sense of the cabinet while Lottie explains that Natalie's death was supposed to happen and neither she or Misty are to blame. Misty expresses surprise that they let Lottie out of her psychiatric hold. Smugly, Lottie says they can't hold her because they don't agree with her faith, and besides her faith, she's perfectly normal. Desperate to change the subject, Misty jokes about the state of the cabinet, pulling a handful of allergy meds and a decades-old dog prescription. Lottie asks why Misty is mad at her, and Misty begins to tear into her when she realizes that Callie is eavesdropping. Callie sheepishly reveals herself from her hiding place, and then in a tactic that is clearly manipulative, suggests they all hang out and have a classic sleepover. Lottie enthusiastically agrees, and Callie begins to pull alcohol out of the cabinet while Misty protests. Callie asks if Misty is afraid of her mom, and Lottie says everyone is afraid of Callie's mom. Callie presses Misty, asking why she doesn't like sleepovers. Misty says she's never been to one outside the wilderness, which was basically one long, very cold sleepover. Callie and Lottie team up and convince Misty to party with them. Shauna and Jeff have dinner with some douchebags while Jeff tries to convince them to hire him to furnish their hotels. Shauna is clearly distracted, worried about what secret Lottie might be spilling to her daughter. The douchebags seem offended that she's on her phone and not fawning all over them in an effort to win their approval. Jeff begs her to get her head in the game, but she insists he's doing fine on his own and excuses herself to use the restroom. At the Sadekis, decked out in hydrating face masks, Callie tries to convince Misty and Lottie to play Truth or Dare with her, a classic sleepover game. Misty says that won't be fun for Callie as they're just two boring grown-ups, but Callie reminds them that their body count is a little too high for them to be considered boring. Sensing Misty's hesitancy, Callie plies her with liquor that has been dosed with Benadryl. Much to Misty's chagrin, they return to the game and Lottie immediately picks Truth. Callie asks if Lottie was really going to kill her mom at the end of last season. Lottie insists her intentions were not to kill Shauna, only to offer it what it needed. Callie presses to know what it is, but Misty, desperate to derail the conversation, demands a dare. Callie dares Misty to chug her spiked drink. Misty asks Callie why she got suspended from school, and she explains she attacked some of her classmates for saying that the Yellowjackets had resorted to cannibalism while they were missing. Misty laughs in a deeply unconvincing fashion and asks if Callie could imagine how screwed up they would be if they only survived by eating each other. Deadpan, Callie says she has no problem imagining that at all. Lottie takes a turn trying to convince her that it wasn't what people think when the Benadryl hits Misty like a truck and she's knocked out hard. With Misty out of the way, Callie continues to press Lottie for answers. Ty walks through the neighborhood smoking a cigarette when she stops at a Spanish church and is drawn inside. She bypasses the sermon and walks to the back patio up to a statue of the Virgin Mary. She pulls a pack of matches out of her pocket and drops it into a lit candle burning in front of the statue, saying a silent prayer. In the restaurant bathroom, Shauna is frantically calling Misty, who has stopped returning her texts. Frustrated that she's not getting an answer, she enters the stall and sits. Someone comes in, walks in front of her stall, and stops. They stand there for a few moments, then walk away, turning off the lights as they exit the bathroom, leaving Shauna in the dark. Panicking, Shauna grips her keys like a weapon and exits the stall ready to attack. The bathroom is empty except for a cell phone left behind in the next stall, playing Queen of Hearts by Juice Newton. Shauna returns from the bathroom rattled and turns the phone in at the bar. The douchebags, after asking Jeff if his furniture fucks, ask why Shauna seems so perturbed after her trip to the bathroom, but Shauna insists they change the subject. They begin to reject Jeff's proposal, saying they like him because they're both self-made men, but they don't feel he's the right fit. Shauna reads him for Nippo Baby filth, pointing out he has earned nothing on his own, just taking over his family business, unlike Jeff, who built his business from the ground up. Insulted, the men storm out, and Shauna is pleased with herself, but Jeff is dismayed. The Sadekis return home to find Callie and Lottie watching reality TV and braiding each other's hair while Misty is passed out on the kitchen table. Indignant, Shauna wakes her up, demanding to know what happened, but Misty throws up all over her kitchen table. Van and Ty share some takeout, and Van asks how it went at the restaurant. Ty lies and says everything was fine. Misty returns home to Walter cleaning Caligula's cage. Walter is horrified to see how intoxicated she is and is upset with Shauna for letting her drive home in such a state. Walter uses air quotes while talking about Misty's friends, which drives her into a rage. She yells at him for his general Misty-ish behavior, and she kicks him out of the house. As Shauna and Jeff get ready for bed, Jeff expresses how hurt he is at Shauna's lack of effort and dismissal of his feelings. He storms out of the bedroom, leaving her alone. Shauna pulls her phone out of her purse and calls the restaurant to ask if anyone claimed the phone she turned in. She argues with the person on the phone as they refuse to give her information. Hanging up, she checks behind her for anyone who may catch her being hypocritical before she calls back and asks to speak to a manager. The manager informs her that someone did indeed pick up the phone. Shauna asked what the person looks like as we roll to the credits. So I think they're being pretty heavy-handed here in suggesting that the person who picked up the phone is Melissa.
Oh yeah, that's totally. I mean, the way our format goes, maybe it doesn't read that way, but that's all intercut with the scene of her trying to figure out whose phone it is all intercut with the scene of Melissa trying to like tell Shauna that she likes her.
Yeah.
And we know there's still one more survivor out there, so.
Yeah. I mean, they could be like trying to give us a red herring or throw us off, but I mean, it was just so heavy-handed to the point that like it just doesn't make sense for it to be anybody else.
Yeah, it has to be her.
Yeah, they're pretty much telling us that.
See,
and
but okay, I also need to kind of apologize here because that's what I thought about the cabin. I was like, to multiple people in a very bitchy fashion, I was like, there is absolutely no way they are going to play the cabin burning down like a mystery. It's impossible. Like,
yeah,
it was Ben. I mean, people are like, no, it's too obvious. And I'm like, no, it's not obvious. They showed him taking those things because that's how you do that in media. Like, it's supposed to be. They're trying to say Ben burned the cabin down, but they're playing it like a mystery. And I swore up and down that wouldn't happen, and it would be obvious that it was Ben. And it's only two options. It couldn't have been any of the girls.
Yeah.
So I still think it's Ben.
Yeah, I mean, they couldn't get out. So
That's what
if they couldn't get out, then they couldn't get in.
It was Issa. Oh, it was Misty. Oh, it was Van, because Van's the evilest. All of the girls were sleeping on the first floor. All of them. So if it was one of them, except for Shauna, who was upstairs journaling.
Yeah.
One of them, they would have had to open the door in the middle of a snowstorm. Either open a door or window and go outside without anyone waking up or noticing. Tie the door closed, and then for sure crawl back in a window without anyone noticing, hearing, being woken up by the freezing cold air suddenly entering the cabin. Like, it's impossible. Like, none of the girls could have done it. The only other option is a character who is still theoretical at this point, although I feel like that scene with Ben pretty much confirmed cabin daughter for me. But
yeah.
Personally, I think it would be lazy writing if it was cabin daughter. I think it would be unfair for them to pin such a big act on a character who has not been introduced to the audience. People, I know a lot of people think it's her getting revenge for them killing Javi, which, okay, I can kind of see that, but I just think it makes more sense that it's Ben.
I do like the idea of it being revenge for Javi because I mean, where's my thought going here?
I've talked to so many casual viewers, and I'm like, it could only be, Cabin Daughter or Ben, and they're like, who's Cabin Daughter? Like, nobody who casually watches the show and has any idea who Cabin Daughter is.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I do like the idea of it being revenge for Hobby, because like when we see them again, they're thriving.
Yeah.
They're doing fine. So it's like
Yeah.
as if everything was, as if that canceled, as if burning the cabin down made them even,
Yeah.
um but yeah, I don't know. I mean, I really want it to be Ben, because I want my Ben hatred to be justified.
I mean, he's still done plenty.
I'm still mad at him for punching Misty. Like, I realized he was freaking out and he was having a total meltdown.
Mhm.
But
I
like,
can't get over him walking away from Shauna. That was the nail in the Ben coffin for me. Like, I think Ben's an incredibly interesting character, especially as like a closeted gay man in the 90s. Like, and I love his relationship with Natalie, and I like his relationship with Ty and Van, but you're gonna just let this little girl bleed to death? You're not even gonna try to help? Like, come on, buddy. Like, you're all mad that they're not respecting you and they're not treating you like the adult, and then you just abandon them when they need you the most.
And I put some of the blame for Jackie's death on him too.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
He's the adult in this situation. Like, absolutely. Like, yes, he is disabled, and yes, he's lost some pull with the girls, but like, adult it, man.
Yeah.
Like, speak up, do something.
A girl is sitting out in the freezing cold.
You're just gonna let her sit out there all night? Like,
yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
Jackie can't do shit to save herself. He'd rather die than apologize. Like, not really. R.I.P. Jackie.
Yeah.
I love Jackie.
Yeah. Yeah, I do too. But yeah, I also think he's done plenty to to justify it. But yeah, I want it to be him.
It's him.
He was super convincing when he was like pretending that he didn't know anything.
Damari?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't think so.
You didn't think so?
No, not at all. Oh, he's like, the cabin burned down? The fact that, like, how far would he have had to go to not see or smell a fire that big that burned for 12 days?
Yeah.
On one leg with a crutch in the snow.
I mean, there's no way that he could have lasted down in his hole for 12 days without coming up once. But
it's not even far enough away that they wouldn't see and smell the fire.
Yeah. But I also wonder if maybe he just saw it and thought, like, it could be the cabin, could be something else. I don't know. I don't care. I'm going back in my hole.
Yeah. That's what people say.
But yeah, I do still think that he burned the cabin down now. But there, I don't know. His face here creeped me out, man.
Mm-hmm.
Like the way he was looking
I think that he regrets it. Like, I think he's glad that they survived. I don't think he definitely don't think he wanted to murder, Mari or hurt her, like, with his own hands, at least. I think that's why he chose that method, because, like, he does care about those kids, but he was like, they're gonna fucking eat me. Like, I don't have, like, he saw Natalie basically give in and, join the part of the faction of the cult that he was worried was getting out of hand in the first place.
Yeah.
And he's like, with Natalie gone, I don't stand a chance. It's them or me. And so he chose the easiest, like, hand, like, least amount of blood on his hands way of getting rid of that threat. And that's what I assume, and I'm sure that he regretted it. I think he was glad to find, that they were surviving still, but I absolutely think he did it.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, I do too. But yeah, the look that he gave Mari just freaked me out. And like, I mean, the thing is, I think I just have this feeling that we are going to be introduced to Cabin Daughter this season.
Mhm. Yeah, she's real. She's out there.
Well, here's the thing. I think she's real and not real.
Ooh.
Because I think think about their situation. Like, their
Mhm.
situation is so extreme. And Ben has been on his own for a long time now.
Mhm.
Um, I think it's possible that, he could be experiencing some kind of psychosis. Like, much
You
like
think it's like a Psycho, and her bones are just in there, and he's just
possibly.
arguing with her bones?
I mean, like, I it's I don't think it's entirely out of question.
I think that she's there and that she's real because Javi survived. I don't think Javi would have been able to survive on his own. He was a child. Like, he had no, like, no one's ever taught him hunting or, scavenging or anything.
Yeah.
I don't think without someone who knew the terrain and how to forage through a very difficult winter, he would have been able to stay alive. So I do think she's a real person. I do think that I really wish they would have dropped that freaking episode, that spare episode or whatever. Yeah. Because it's all just based on one picture and some throwaway lines. Like,
let me ask you, what do you think the significance is of him giving Mari hot chocolate, which we also saw in the season 1 finale with Jackie's dream?
Oh my God, I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Like, just like Jackie right before she died. That's crazy.
I can't wrap my head around that one.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what.
Man, what does that mean?
Yeah.
It didn't even occur to me when I watched the episode. Wow. Yeah, that's crazy. And how lucky for Mari. But I bet you she keeps that a secret forever. I bet she doesn't tell anyone. Like, they would be so mad.
Oh my God.
Although if they end up finding Ben, then I'm sure they'll find those MREs.
Yeah.
So then everyone can have hot chocolate.
Yeah. Yeah. That'd be pretty awesome. I mean, God, like, can you imagine just being out there all that time and then finding all those MREs and protein bars, like, and hot chocolate?
So lucky. Yeah.
Like, Jesus fucking Christ.
It would make you so sick.
Yeah, no kidding.
That's what I was thinking about when Mari was drinking that hot chocolate. I was like, oh, that's gonna make her real sick.
Yeah, like, would your palate even be able to stomach anything that's sweet after all that time, you know?
I mean, I don't know.
Well, I suppose they have berries out there.
Yeah, they're just like, their diets have been completely like clean and natural. Like, they're just eating what they can scavenge, oh my God, what plants and animals and fruits and berries that they can catch, and it's a real clean diet to then go to like shelf stable hot chocolate from an MRE who doesn't know. Like, I mean, I know they're meant to last for like decades, but like, who knows how long it's been there.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a rough night for Mari.
Yeah. I had to laugh at this photo of the waiter. Like, all I kept thinking during this was, come on, Yellowjackets, you can do better than that. Really? This is like something that I would expect to see in like a WB show.
Yeah, it's why is he in his surfer uniform?
I know.
Like,
Exactly.
why is that like the picture of him from Wardrobe that they used to like show to the producers?
Right?
At least have him take a second headshot. Use his headshot if you're going to be lazy.
Yeah.
That was mean. Especially because like the production designer of the show is like one of my icons.
Yeah.
Margot Reedy does nothing wrong. She's like one of the best production designers in the game, and she kills it on this show. But I thought that was really silly.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I want to talk about the scene where Ty walks into that storefront church and drops the matches. So, you were kind of questioning what the significance of that was, I think.
I was questioning if we should leave it in the summary for length.
Yeah.
Not that it was insignificant, because I do feel like it was significant, but it's just such a like, there's no dialogue. It happened. It's such a short little thing. I was like, do I cut that out or do we include it because it's important? And I chose important.
Yeah, I feel like it was basically Ty's attempt to turn that accidental tragedy into an offering to the wilderness.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's like signaling that Ty is heading back.
Yeah.
To the wilderness for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Because I mean, she it was the matchbook from the restaurant.
Mm-hmm.
And they showed her taking it. So I think that I think that's what she was trying to do.
Go ahead.
Oh no, go.
No, go ahead.
Go ahead. I was pretty much done. I was done.
Oh, I was moving. I wanted to go back to Misty and Walter, and the conversation they have before when Shauna calls and he's trying to get her to stay, and she says, "You can't understand the bond that we've been through because of like what's happened to us," and like the face Walter is making in that whole scene is like, "Girl, you don't know." So, like that's what gave me that, and I just feel like the expression that he made and the way he took what she said makes me feel like there is a lot more to Walter that we haven't seen, and that he is more like Misty than even they're like showing that he's basically Misty's clone at this point. But
yeah,
I feel like he's got some real dark stuff in his past that he's waiting for her to like, be ready to receive or whatever.
I need to go back and watch that because I wasn't even focusing on his face at all because I just kept I was just concentrating on the fact that like I think that whole thing about the bartender calling her friends and calling everyone in her contacts and not answering, I just feel like that was all bullshit.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But I could absolutely see that being true. Like, I mean, I can absolutely, we've seen Shauna ignore calls from Misty.
Yeah.
And with Natalie gone, like, I don't know who else is in Misty's phone, but I could definitely see all of the girls ignoring Misty calling them at night like that.
I could too, but I think it was bullshit because he was probably the last person she called.
Yeah.
And she probably has more calls to him than anyone else. And if I found somebody's phone, I would not be going through it alphabetically.
Yeah, that's right. That makes way more sense, actually.
I mean, I would be looking for like mom, dad, husband, wife. Like I have Jim listed in my phone as husband. So, in case like anybody finds my phone, in case I lose my phone somewhere or something, they can get a hold of him really easily.
It's really smart.
they'll see calls to and from my husband. I would like if I find a phone, I'm looking for husband or wife or mom, dad, whatever, roommate, boyfriend, girlfriend. And if I don't find any of that, then I'm gonna look at, who was calling them or who they called. And I'm not gonna be going through their phone alphabetically.
Yeah, that
So
does seem a little strange.
yeah, so that's what makes me think.
I have a lot of contacts.
Yeah.
It would take you a while.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why I feel like I mean, I have contacts in my phone that if someone called them, they'd be like, "Who? Who? What?
Yeah, exactly.
Who the
I have
fuck is
people that I
this?"
work with like for one day, like
Yeah.
there's people from high school that I haven't talked, probably not high school, but stuff like that.
Yeah.
I have tons of people on my phone who have no idea.
Yeah. Um I that kind of puts me off about Walter. I think he might be a little shady, and maybe he's just pulling a Misty and he just wants to make sure that he's like, I don't know. I mean, it's shady regardless, but it's kind of shitty to like, I don't know, to make her feel like her friends don't give a shit about her if that wasn't even the case, if they were never even contacted. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
And none of them mention it. Like none of them mention
yeah.
that she called it, that they missed a call from her.
Yeah. Um yeah, and Shauna seemed a little surprised when Misty asked if it was an intervention because of her
About
drinking
her
problem.
drinking. Yeah.
Yeah. She's like, "Do you have a drinking problem?" But but it was, however, kind of shitty for Shauna to just like let her drive home.
Yeah, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Like, I feel like everyone should have realized that there was something else going on because she only had one drink.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think Callie would readily admit to drugging her, but she only had one drink and then she passed out and then threw up everywhere.
Yeah.
Like, that doesn't seem normal to me. I don't know.
Yeah.
And she's
Yeah.
like slurring her speech and she's all confused. Like, at least call her an Uber. I found that very weird. I
Yeah.
do agree with Walter about that. Why did they let her drive home?
Yeah. 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 Shauna and Lottie too. I mean, because Lottie was like well aware that she passed out. And and like, yeah, I don't know. I don't get that. And Lottie's knew she only had one drink, so what the fuck? I'm so confused about that.
Yeah.
But I'm kind of liking Callie and Mari this season
Yeah.
a
I'm
lot.
really enjoying Callie.
Yeah.
It's like enough. Just tell me the freaking cannibal stories and let's move on with our lives, please.
Right? It's so funny because I didn't realize that I gave a shit about Callie until the season 1 finale when I thought she was gonna die. When she showed up at the compound. And I was like, "No, Callie, get out of there. You're gonna die." I was all stressed out about it. I was like, "Oh, wow, I guess I really care about Callie." Did you watch Wentworth by any chance? Okay. There was a character on that show that I felt the same way about, where I was like, I didn't give a shit about them. And then when they almost died, I was like, my heart almost stopped. I was like, "No, please don't let this happen." But but yeah, I'm really liking Callie this season. I'm loving Mari this season. Mari has Mari has some great moments. But yeah, man, I feel like
Not to get, I don't want to spoil anything because we have screeners, but they have she and Coach Scott have a great bit of physical comedy that I loved. It really cracked me up. She has a good run this season that we find out that she is definitely for sure Pit Girl.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Um, so by the way, for those of you who do not know this, um, Van, when Van was singing karaoke by herself, which I loved. I loved that she was just sitting on the couch by herself singing karaoke.
Mm-hmm.
Um, she was like, she wasn't necessarily, it didn't sound like she was necessarily trying to sound bad or anything, but like she just wasn't really, she was just being goofy with it, you know? But you could
Mm-hmm.
still kind of tell that, you could still kind of tell that Lauren Ambrose can sing.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
but if you have never actually heard her sing for real, you should look up videos of her singing because she's got a phenomenal voice. She's a great singer. Um, but I I cringed so hard when she came back. I talked about this on the live, but when she came back from urgent care and she like was just walking around, didn't have crutches or anything.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, girl, you gotta get off that foot for like at least 24 hours, if not
Yeah.
longer. Because I mean, I've
Oh,
had a cut
goodness.
on the bottom of my foot before. Okay, I'm
Mm-hmm.
gonna make everybody throw up now. I I was walking my dog at the beach in flip-flops, and this was back before I realized that retractable leashes suck, and they're just completely terrible for many
Mm-hmm.
reasons. But he was on a retractable leash, and he's there were we were on the beach during the day. So there were people around and someone like there were I can't remember if they were playing basketball or volleyball or what. Um but it doesn't matter the size of the ball. If he saw a ball, he was going after it.
Mm-hmm.
And he just immediately like pulled, but he was in front of me and like wrapped the cord around and I'm wearing flip-flops.
Oh.
The cord got caught under my in between my foot and my flip-flop and
Oh,
basically just gouged out a chunk of my skin on the bottom of my foot.
Jesus. Ouch.
It was so
Mm-hmm.
painful, and I swear to God that thing took like 6 months to heal because,
Yeah.
like, I didn't stay off of it. Like, I
Yeah.
bandaged
You can't.
yeah,
Yeah.
I bandaged it, but that's not enough when you're, like,
Mm-hmm.
walking and rubbing it up against things constantly.
Yeah.
So if I ever get, like, a cut on the bottom of my foot again, I'm crutching it. I don't care. I'm crutching it
It
until that thing heals.
definitely sucks. I
'Cause
knew that
that
was coming from a mile. As soon as she like the first shot of the glass on the ground, I was like, "Oh God, here we go." Like, it was really obvious, but yeah, it looked terribly painful.
yeah.
Not fun.
Yeah. Yeah, not cool at all. I loved the reality show they were watching, like
Hmm.
Repo Divorce.
Yeah, it threw me off for a second. I really like. I think we both were like, "What happened to the show?" But yeah, that was a really well like the way they cut it in was really interesting.
They did a really good job with mimicking a Bravo show.
Hmm.
It's like I was listening to the music in the background, and I don't watch Bravo, but I used to years ago, and like it just like the music, it totally came off like a Bravo show. I mean, even the music that was playing in the background and everything, it was really well done. I liked it. Um,
How much do you think that Lottie told Callie?
I don't know. She didn't really seem drunk, so I
No,
don't.
but I mean it's like I don't understand what she wants from her. Like she obviously has some kind of like draw to Callie or like it has some kind of plans for Callie and I don't know. I wouldn't put it past her to just tell her everything like at all. But
Yeah,
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 I
I
don't
wouldn't
know.
either.
I'm really curious how much she divulged.
Yeah, I don't think that. I don't know. I wouldn't expect Lottie to really hold back anything.
Exactly. Yeah. I'm wondering if she already told her everything. I doubt it, but I'm curious.
Yeah. I mean, plus, like, she just got out of a psych ward.
Mm-hmm. We don't
So,
know how long they were alone together either.
yeah. Yeah, exactly. Um, she was probably dying for some normal conversation. Um,
About cannibalism.
yeah, exactly.
Her favorite subject.
Yeah, I mean, think about it, like, you're in a psych ward for 6 weeks, and someone is talking to you and wants to know all about you, and, like, she was probably spilling her guts.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but, yeah, I am sorry. I know we're talking about episode 2 really quick, but I just wanna look at this picture of Travis again because.
This is from episode 2.
Oh, it is? Oh, yeah, it is episode 2. No, look at how cute he is. Like,
I
it's just so
know.
adorable. I mean, I was the biggest Travis hater on earth in season 1. And, season 2, I warmed up to him a little bit, but look at this
He
this
is so
this
traumatized.
this poor sad little whoopee. Like,
Yeah.
he's just holding the duck and crying. Oh, I feel
So
so
then he
bad for
immediately
him.
threw Aquila under the bus, and I got mad.
Yeah, I know. I got mad at that too. I was like, "Come on, man."
Not cool. You couldn't have picked anybody else.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, I really wanna know what the deal is with, I I'm excited if this is Melissa, I'm excited to find out. Let's talk about, like, what did you think of that scene with Shauna and Melissa?
Oh, I loved it. I knew
Yeah?
I felt it. I felt it coming from the first episode.
Yeah.
Like it's very like Melissa like being into Shauna was very openly obvious. I think from the jump of
Yeah, you
this
think so?
season. Yeah, absolutely. The
Yeah.
like the whole like her like making the joke about Mari and like jumping to be on Shauna's team and bullying Aquila for for trying to give Shauna a flower crown. Like just she was obviously into her. Like I just from the beginning, like her first appearance in episode 1 of this season. And I know she was in season 2. She wasn't in season 1, right?
No, she was in season. No. Yeah, she was. I think she was. I think she was in the background.
I thought Melissa was added in season 2, but I might be wrong. Um,
I think she was in
but
the back.
like,
She didn't have any lines, but I think she was there in the
yeah.
background.
Um, but yeah, I did. I definitely. I like that. I like where they're going with that. They've always used that description of the girls splitting into two warring tribes, and that's never happened. And I feel like maybe we're finally getting there.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know. I see. I kind of have a different take on it.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of just got the feeling that Melissa was like, everyone's afraid of Shauna. Um, so I'm gonna like try to make sure that she's not a threat to me in any kind of way.
Oh no, I think she's super into her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
I think especially like so we're pretty sure that whoever's stalking Shauna now is is Melissa. Like she survived, she made it through. And I've always thought there was more to the blackmailing than just Jeff. And I
yeah. Oh
think we're
yeah,
going
me
to find
too.
out that that was all connected to Melissa, and she's been obsessing about Shauna this whole time.
Um, I've always felt like we're gonna learn more about Jeff's furniture store and the financial struggles
Mm-hmm.
that it was going through. And that perhaps he was somehow like coerced into borrowing money and that somebody could be behind that, like a survivor or something.
Interesting.
But I like I was very uncomfortable with the last scene with Jeff and Shauna.
I didn't like the way it ended up.
I didn't either. I did not like Jeff's face. Like,
No.
he looked crushed.
I can't believe she didn't even apologize. Like, she really just like I don't disagree with her. Like I'm glad those guys were gonna turn him down, and I'm glad that she like got her jabs in before they were able to hurt him. But like, she knows what a gentle little muffin that man is. Like,
yeah. I mean, I think she was right.
I do too. I don't disagree with her.
Yeah.
I just don't like her methods.
I'm just uncomfortable in general with because I want them to be okay.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't like that. I mean, if my
ride I've been through emotionally with Jeff as a character.
Yeah. I mean, if my husband had this look on his face that Jeff is showing in this photo here while he was talking to me, I would just have a pit in my stomach.
You should try spraying Coca-Cola all over your husband's computer. It feels great.
Oh man, it's just a very uneasy feeling, you know?
Absolutely.
But it's interesting though that Shauna was like, I mean, do you think she had Melissa in mind when she was asking the person at the restaurant what the person looked like? She picked up the phone.
Yeah, I think she. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm still interested to know, like in the pilot episode when she met with Ty in the diner. They brought up Natalie and Misty, and then she said, "And nothing from the others." In months. So who are the others?
I'm assuming just Lottie, Van, and Melissa.
Oh yeah, Lottie and Van.
Yeah.
Lottie,
neither Lottie or. We didn't even think Van at that point. We didn't even think there was going to be a Van.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like I was when I saw that because did you watch the first season live? I did, and so I spent a week thinking, like, totally thinking that it wasn't up for debate whether or not she was dead. I'm like, oh, that really sucks. I really liked Van. I can't believe she's dead. That blows. Yeah, like I was absolutely convinced she was. So I'm glad.
I got into it at I think it was before the second season started, but it was like right. We think we finished watching the first season and 2 episodes of the second season had aired.
Yeah,
and then we caught up with those. So it was like really soon when it came out because we only watched like one a night.
Yeah. What is there anything else that you want to talk about in regards to episode 2?
I think I covered all my bases. Yeah.
So we are going to, first of all, I want to say we're very sorry about getting out this first episode late. If you're used to, if you're a regular listener or viewer of the Antler Queens, then you know that this is kind of a typical turnaround for us. But we're working with screeners this season, so we'll be able to get them out sooner. This one was just a bit late because it was a 2-episode premiere. We're also covering Severance at the same time, which we don't have screeners for. And we had the big cast interview to prepare for. So it's
and we got the screeners like days before we got the cast interview. We had there was too much to prepare.
yeah, there was a lot. But I mean, we're planning on recording episode 3 like probably Thursday.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it'll be out, you know, right after you watch the episode, you can come in and find it on like wherever you're listening to podcasts, or you can find it on our channel. Also, we go live every Sunday night right after the episode. So come join us if you're free. If we get enough people in the chat, we might do a giveaway. We're trying to find some fun things to do to achieve our goals this season. Yeah, with Severance, if you're not familiar with, if you haven't watched Severance, you need to. The show is fucking amazing. It's only on season 2 right now. We're covering it, so check out our Severance coverage. Come join our Friday afternoon lives. We go live to talk about Severance every Friday at 5 p.m. Eastern, and we also cover From. So you can check our From coverage on our From podcast on the channel, or you can look up the From series podcast. If you're a listener, then you can find our Severance coverage on the Severed Floor podcast. That's SVR''D. Yeah, be sure to check out the cast interview. It's great. We're trying to line up more interviews with cast members across all the shows that we cover. So it's really exciting stuff that we
didn't do MVP, LVP.
Oh, yeah, that's right. We didn't. Why do I always forget this? What is my problem?
I never forget because that's my favorite.
Yeah. We actually typically do things a little bit differently here on the Antler Queens. Mm-hmm. Instead of an LVP or an MVP, we do the Sassy Magazine Award and the Zubaz Award. Yeah. We also typically have superlatives, but I decided to skip those for this premiere because there was just too much going on.
Yeah.
And you know, I do like cute little yearbook photos and stuff for them. So it's yeah. Well, but
we've been busy.
Yeah. We'll resume that with episode 3. But so Jazz, who gets your Zubaz Award and who gets your Sassy Magazine Award? For each episode, episode 1 and for episode 2.
Episode 1, is harder. So episode 1 is Nat's mom. She's Zubaz.
Yeah.
What a sucky person. Thumbs down. -15. Episode 2 is Lottie. I hated that. I hated her egging Travis on. She is a terrible trip sitter. I would never want. I love Courtney Eden, but I don't think I could be comfortable doing hallucinogens in a room anywhere near her.
No.
After all that. For the Sassy, for episode 1, I want to say everybody, the whole cast. Geez, I'm having such a hard time. Everyone's so good. I'm gonna say Misty because I felt really bad that Misty got left out of the funeral, and she is like grieving so hard, and she was so funny in that bar scene. I think she could use the pick me up of a little Sassy Magazine Award, so I'm gonna give it to Misty. And then episode 2 is easily Akila, even though she only was in it briefly. Her giving Travis that jug is like one of the nicest things anyone's done in the entire series.
I know. Mm-hmm. Oh, and he has a name, Mortimer.
Mm-hmm.
I love Akila.
She like knew that was like the trauma duck. She was like, here, cuddle the drama. Like Akila, I'm almost positive we're gonna lose her this season. And
oh God, shut up. I can't take
it. I feel it in my bones. And I am so stressed about it because she's just so gentle. I just love her so much.
I know. She's so sweet. I can't, it would break my heart.
Yeah.
Episode 1. Yeah, I'm gonna agree with you on actually, you know what? No. I'm gonna give it to Issa.
Yeah.
Episode 1, I'm gonna give Issa the Zubaz award for the Dine and Dash.
Yeah. I do not like that. If you couldn't tell from my notes, I'm not a fan of the Dine and Dash.
Yeah. For the Sassy Magazine award, oh boy, that one's a little tougher. I'm gonna give it to I'll give it to Misty because she was the MVP of Capture the Bone, and that was a nice, brilliant move there, using Mari as a decoy. I also want to give a backup Sassy Magazine award, maybe like one of the free perfume samples contained in the Sassy Magazine. An Electric Youth perfume sample, an Electric Youth paper perfume sample goes to Tammy for taking Randy back.
That's an excellent choice.
The episode 2 Zubaz award. Yeah, I gotta go with Lottie there, man. That
was so sinister.
I know. Dude, look, okay, I kept this photo up because I wanted to look at her face again. Look at her face.
Yeah. It's
like
dark.
Yeah. Like Travis is screaming and she's just like grinning in the most sinister way. I mean, she's like full on doom coming Lottie. It's scary. Yeah, I'm giving her the Zubaz award. Sorry, Lottie. I know you're a little too stylish to wear Zubaz, but you're wearing them right now.
What she deserves.
Yeah. And yeah, I think I'm gonna agree with you too on the Sassy Magazine award too with Akila, because it was just so sweet. Like her giving.
That was a great moment.
And Mortimer, I don't want to give him a perfume sample because he might eat it and get sick. So I don't know, like he can have some like random pages torn out of the Sassy Magazine to poop on or something. I don't know. For comforting Travis.
Amazing.
But all right. Well, yeah, come join us on Fridays if you're a Severance fan. If not, come join us on Sundays. We'll chat live with you guys.
Become a Severance fan though. Just do it. You're gonna love it.
It's phenomenal. Have you been seeing the, not to get on a tangent here, but have you seen some of the new promos that have come out this week?
No, I gotta go. Sorry, bye. End of podcast. No.
They're kind of crazy.
Oh boy, I'm excited.
And I'm pretty sure one of them is heavily hinting that storyline that we think is coming is coming. You'll see what I mean when you see it.
Excited.
Like people were like, what's with this? Like people were like, why is this? I don't understand.
Oh God.
But if you put it together with that storyline, it makes sense.
It's urgent.
But all right, guys. Well, we will wrap up. Thanks so much for hanging in there with us. And again, we'll be more timely with our coverage going forward. We just had a lot going on. And we're really excited about season 3 and to chat with you about it. So we will see you guys soon. Peace, love, and Yellowjackets all.
Buzz, buzz.